Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that asks the question, should you spend your money by leaving the house and going to the cinema, or should you sit on your sofa and be just as equally entertained? My name is Tosin and I am the host I'm based up in the UK in a place called Bromsgrove in the middle of the country. And joining us as always on the Isle of Wight is Shaun Harris.
Hello.
Not to be confused with the bad guy in the last couple of Mission Impossible movies. Different Shaun Harris.
Yes.
This one is less ginger. this one is less ginger, less angry, and altogether less scary, I would say.
Yeah. But I mean, I do rate him. I think he's a good actor.
He's a very good actor. Yeah, he's a very good actor. But you it's one of those things where you go, you know what, he might just be acting, but at the same time, I wouldn't like to risk it, and I don't want to meet him in a dark alley. So, joining us from London, it is a London correspondent, and it's Holly Neslane.
Hello.
How are we doing today, Holly?
Very well, thank you. We have blue skies. It's 27 degrees or something here, and is a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yeah, looking. Obviously, we're recording this over Zoom, and I can see Holly's picture. And seeing the picture, that knowing roughly where you live in London, and knowing how the sun is coming through the window, I bet this is one of those sunny days that makes you go, you know what, London's all right.
Very, very so. It is absolutely beautiful here. Blue skies, green trees, flowers.
Yeah, I remember there was once when I had to catch a train from Waterloo, and I missed the train going from Waterloo, and I was in one of these phases. I was in one of these phases of, oh my God, London, can I be bothered with this anymore? And I remember that as I was walking around the area, because I had to wait an hour for the next train to leave, walking around the area around London Waterloo, and the sun came out. I was like, oh wow, you know what? London's all right. It's really, really funny. I think England is a totally different place when the sun comes out. Totally.
It is. I was saying at work today how much the sun makes a difference to people's outlook, to people's feelings. I mean, man, I just feel good. I've had a really nice day today. Been superb.
Yeah.
The sun, real worshipper. Even looking out there now.
Hard not to be happy when the sun shines.
I can just imagine going back, like, I don't know, however many centuries you'd have to go back. I can imagine just Shaun in a field with a massive beard. Just sort of like...
Yeah, that's it.
Just sort of like, sacrificing a goat so the sun would come out or something like that. I could totally see that. Totally see that.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So, okay, anyway, enough prattling.
It reminds me of a film called Apocalypto, the sun. Like,
Apocalypto. The sort of like Native American language film.
That Mel Gibson.
It was Mel Gibson.
Well, he directed it, I think.
Yeah, he directed it. Mel Gibson directed it, and it's one of those things.
And
where
one of his less overtly racist moments.
Well, you see, now this is the thing with Mel Gibson. I think it's one of these things. You know, when they talk about separating the art from the artist, and it's a big thing that's come up recently because we've had quite a few artists who have made some amazing stuff end up being less than perfect people. Like, very much so. They've ended up being quite unsavory people. And so people are kind of like, well, but the art is still amazing. That song still bangs. And I feel like Mel Gibson has managed to keep his personal views out of his films. Like, I feel like if you can watch any Mel Gibson movie and you will not equate Mel Gibson's outside life with the film you're watching.
I think from The Patriot and Braveheart, he doesn't like the English particularly. I think that's the other side of it.
He doesn't like the British. I mean,
I don't think he likes it. Not the British, the English. I don't think he likes the English.
The English. Oh, come on, Jay. He just made 2 films in about never mind. Never mind. But anyway, let's carry on. Let's kick on with what have we seen in the cinema this week?
Okay, well, for me, it's The Accountant 2 and Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Okay, yep. Until Dawn. I've seen that film being advertised, and I'm like, where the hell did this film come from? I heard nothing about this film. All of a sudden, it's in my face. Sorry.
I have also seen The Accountant 2 and Until Dawn.
Okay, and I have seen The Accountant 2 because I had my time cut down and I couldn't do my usual 2 films a week. All right, cool. So that is the account too. How about at home? What have we seen at home?
Okay, well, I've got the 2 from last week that we looked at, which was Last One Laughing and From Paris with Love. Because at the moment, apart from you're talking about shorts, I've been watching a lot of shorts, but I got like different times in different places. I've started like Black Mirror and
Oh yeah,
I love Mobsters, is it? The
Mobland.
yeah, and the old fungus one. There's the game.
Oh, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, yeah. So I've seen 1 episode of one, 3 episodes of another. So, and with our criteria, you've got to see the whole lot. So
yes, for any one of us who is wondering, if you're wondering how do you equate Netflix and cinema, how do you put them up against each other? We say that if you are going to bring a TV show to the fore, if you're going to bring a TV show as the thing you're going to review, you have to have seen the entire series of it, because then at least hopefully the story is complete. And if the story is complete, then you can put it up against the film. If not, no, it's not fair. So yeah, so The Last of Us season 2 and which was the other one you said?
okay, Mobsters or London Mobsters. Mobsters.
Is it Mobsters or Mobland?
The new one with
Tom Hardy.
Mobland, that's it.
Tom Hardy and Pierce Brosnan.
Tom Hardy, yeah. So
that's
I've seen 3 episodes of that.
Yeah, that is Mobland. All right, in that case, I will. Let's take Last One Laughing. Last One Laughing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So without giving who wins in it, but yeah, let's take Last One Laughing and see how that goes. So okay, cool. We got The Accountant 2, and we also have, what was the other thing you said in the cinemas? Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
Okay, cool.
I have also seen Last One Laughing.
What, the latest series? Yeah.
I've only seen 1 series, but I think there is only 1 series.
No,
there is only 1 series of the UK version.
Oh right, okay. Well then, is it the one with Bob Mortimer?
Bob Mortimer,
Oh, yes.
Daisy May
That's the one
Cooper, Richard Ayoade.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm going to get on. I'm going to get on my high horse about this, because Richard Ayoade, his last name is a Yoruba name. It is pronounced Ayoade, not Ayoade, which is what a lot of people have been saying. And I'm not sure whether he says that himself or anything like that, but his last name is Ayoade, and let it be on record, if no other place, in one place, that name is pronounced Ayoade. And relax and breathe. Okay.
And make sure I pronounce it correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, not that you would have mentioned him anyway. But okay. So, and at home, what have you seen, Holly? Apart from Last One Laughing,
I've seen the Persian version.
The Persian version.
Yes, and I am, I think, 1 episode away, as I think there is only 1 episode to go, of Happy Face, and I'm back catching up on Yellow Jackets.
Happy Face. That sounds familiar.
Paramount.
Oh, that's the one about the woman who didn't realize her dad was a serial killer.
Or did realise her dad was a serial killer, but has to get back in touch with her dad.
Okay, yeah.
Because
okay. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. So that's
it's good. It's good. If you've got time to watch it, watch it.
All right, cool. And I have seen The Life List on Netflix, because I was like, I've got to hang out with a kid who doesn't want to sleep. I'm going to watch something mindless, and so it proved. So so you said Last One Laughing, and I'll go with The Life List. I'll go with The Life List, and make a list of it. Okay, cool. So, shall we crack on? Let us crack on. Yeah. Let us fire away. And let us kick off with the big noise in cinema this week, which actually got mentioned on our podcast last week, which was The Accountant. And, The Accountant 2. The Accountant 2. Yeah, and I was talking about how all right, one little swagger before we actually get into the proper Accountant 2 review. You know how last week I was talking about how I was looking forward to this film because I feel like all of a sudden cinema is renormalizing, and that all of a sudden we're beginning to get these films, like, mid-level films back in cinema that usually seemed in the last couple of years seem to have gone straight through to Prime Video. And so we had The Amateur, we had Drop, we now have The Accountant 2. And it turns out that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me blanging on and putting it onto a YouTube short. It was that they had the numbers for April, for the cinemas in April in America, and for the first time in ages, 4 films went over $20 million in 1 month. all at the same time, which is showing that cinema is coming back again. I mean, obviously, Sinners was the big one there. They had a reissue of the Revenge of the Sith, but it's like, but I mean, it's not like it shows that what actually happens on your local Cineplex might actually be replicated across the world, and cinema might be recovering. So yay for us! But anyway, The Accountants 2. So I'm not sure about you guys. I'm not sure whether you guys remember much about The Accountant 1. How much do you guys remember much about The Accountant 1?
Well, I thought I hadn't seen it, and then I started watching it again earlier today and realised I had seen it.
Yeah.
So I still don't remember all of it because I haven't finished watching it, and not because I didn't enjoy it, but just because I am getting old and my memory is less good. So it turns out, yes, I have seen it, and I remember more about it than I realised, which I didn't realise until I turned it on and started watching. I was like, yes, I remember lots about this film.
No, but that's the thing. I think that encapsulates the thing of watching The Accountant. You enjoy while you're watching it, and it almost leaves your head immediately after you finish watching it. If anybody asks you, what was The Accountant about? Like, oh, it was all right. It was all right. What happened in it?
Right, yeah.
There was a bit with Ben Affleck, and there was a bit with John Bernthal, and I can't really remember.
John Lithgow, and Anna Kendrick.
Totally forgot that John Lithgow was in that movie. I was like, was it John Lithgow? Was it Jeremy Irons? And the way The Accountant 2 starts, because The Accountant 2 starts with J.K. Simmons, and you're watching it, the way you're watching, you're going, okay, they're treating this guy like he was a character who was in the last film, and I do not remember him. I don't remember him being in the last film. There is a character, like the character who sort of has taken over J.K. Simmons' old job, who is her last name is Medina. And I'm like, was she in the last film? Because I don't remember her being in the last film. So I remember in Shades about but I think, honestly, if you haven't seen The Accountant, I don't think you have to have seen The Accountant to see The Accountant 2. I feel like this is like a perfectly different standalone film. So the film starts off and you're introduced...
I didn't know I'd seen it. I watched it.
Yeah.
And I watched all of The Accountant 2, thinking I hadn't seen The Accountant. And then it turns out I had, and I didn't realise that until I started watching it again afterwards. So I would say you're fine watching it.
I think you're fine. You're fine going into this film. What you need to know is that you have Ben Affleck. He plays a character called Christian Wolf, who is an accountant, and he's an accountant for possibly, shall we say, dodgy people. And on the side, he is also one of the world's greatest hitmen. As you do, dangerous accountant. And in this film, somebody in the first film gets killed. And when he gets killed, he writes on his arm, "Find the accountant," which leads this trail of people to sort of get Ben Affleck back on board. You have Ben Affleck, and he has a brother who is played by John Bernthal called Braxton, who he calls up, and because of in the first film they go into the childhood and they talk about who their dad was. So essentially, their dad kind of created two stone cold killers. And so these people are like the people who you want when you want somebody dead. And when you want a whole bunch of people dead and blah, 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 blah. So on and so forth. And that's the excuse for a plot. And then it carries on. And I think this film, there is one particular scene, and it's the scene where you first meet John Bernthal, where this film kind of switches gears. And you can feel the film switching gears. Where it starts off going action movie, thriller, this is what's going to happen, are we going to do this, who are the bad guys that we need to shoot in the face, how are we going to find them, how are we going to track them down, and how are we going to, uphold justice for the day. And then that scene happens with John Bernthal, and all of a sudden you're like, hang on, did we just walk into a different film here? and it becomes sorry, what?
And it was quite funny.
It was quite funny. It was quite funny because, and that's the film. It starts becoming like a thing, and then the film becomes almost like a buddy cop movie, or not buddy cop, but a buddy movie between Ben Affleck and John Bernthal, who are essentially going along and trying to figure out some familial stuff while shooting people in the face, and that is generally what it is. That's generally what you're dealing with the film. What did you guys think?
Okay, well, I think for me, John Bernthal, much as I think he's all right, he just plays us. I've never seen him. Every expression he uses is the same in everything he's ever played in, be it the Punisher series, be it Fury, and he tries that sad. I don't know. He's got a mannerism where he tries to. For me, I don't know. I don't. I've never taken. He's not as bad as Tukey, but I've never really taken to him, and I think he just plays the same character, the Punisher character in everything he's done. Walking Dead. As I say, the Punisher. He does that one. There's a bit where he's got like a pen or something, and he goes and he scratches like this, and like tries to go deep in thought and do some sort of method acting that doesn't work. Anyway, so yeah, that's John Bernthal. So yeah, it follows a pretty standard scene. I mean, I quite enjoyed the start of it. I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed, but then it's like a lot of these films, they go a bit daft at the end.
Yeah.
I know it would have been cruel, but everything's just like in the nick of time, and everything's
Yes.
just nice.
Yes.
Buddy.
It is a
And do you know what I
throwback
mean?
to
It's
one of those
like,
films
oh,
where
come on, man.
like
Let's-
everybody gets saved just at the nick of time, kind of thing. Yeah.
Just in the nick of time, just whereas people would just be spraying machine guns all over the place like they were doing when they were in the compound, and it's like, oh come on. So yeah, to me, it was a film of two halves. I think they were trying to make him a little bit more in this. They were trying to make, from what compared to the original one, they made him a little bit more, should we say, nicey. They were trying to bring out a different side of him. Whereas in the first Accountant, he's totally.
What you mean to Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck, yeah. So sorry, I should have said Ben Affleck, the actual accountant. They've tried to soften him. Is that the word? Soften?
Well, yeah, possibly. Well, they tried to, because the first time you see him in this film, he is at a speed dating event, and that was and even when I saw that, I was like, is he working a case? What's going on here? But it seems like they actually played the scene as in no, he's actually. In his own way, because it is very, very, it's not even veiled or anything like that, but it's implied that he is on the autism spectrum. He's got Asperger's or something like that. Like that's why he's such a good accountant. That's why he can see patterns and everything like that.
Yeah,
that they do. So yeah, they do that. So I think that they do try and make him a bit more human and less of a machine in this film. Holly, what did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely silly, but well put together.
Yep.
I enjoyed the twists in the plot it was not all predictable by any stretch of the imagination, which it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was actually you're right, a nick of time, but it was a reasonably intelligent plot for something that I was assuming was going to be a fairly, mediocre shooty film.
Yeah.
And it had subtlety to it that I did not think was going to be there, and it had comedy to it that I did not expect was going to be there.
Yep.
And I got to the end and thought, I really liked that. And annoyingly, I expected it to be a film where the one occasion where I had to pop out to the bathroom, it wouldn't matter. I popped out at completely the wrong moment. Completely the wrong moment.
Well, yeah, but I agree with it. I agree with everything you say. I think it's extremely silly. But I think it's a film that knows how silly it is. It knows how silly its premise is. I mean, the fact is, when you get to the point where you're introduced to this school of kids who are somewhere along the spectrum or have like learning needs, and they pretty much have like a CIA base of operations in the basement. And
it's almost like Professor Xavier's school, isn't it?
It's essentially like Professor X's school. When you have that in the basement and like the whole idea that they all have Asperger's, so because they have Asperger's, they're somewhere in the spectrum. Look at all these superpowers. Look what they can do. Now, every actor in that scene actually is on the spectrum. Yeah. So every actor.
That was a good scene, actually. That scene where they were. I did enjoy that. I think
it's a very good scene. It's a very clever scene. Everything within that scene is very believable. But the fact that this room exists within this school, that the people who run the school seem to be totally oblivious to, I'm like, okay, cool. You're just asking us to just go with it. It's fine. It's cool. And there's a character, so like Cynthia Adai Robinson, who plays Mary Beth Medina. She's along for the ride with the two brothers in this. At this point, I say something that is a bit spoilerific and makes Holly say,
"You're going to have to cut this. That bit's going to have to get cut."
So if you would like to hear what it was that I said that was so spoilerific we had to cut it out of the show, head to our YouTube channel where there will be a short specifically for the bit of the show where we're talking about The Accountant 2 that got cut out. Although you might want to watch The Accountant 2 first before you watch that bit. Thank you. On to the rest of the show. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's kind of like, okay, fine, I will cut that bit. I'll cut that bit. But I mean, that bit is just kind of like, okay, all I say is there's a character who, at some point in the film, they are trying to tell you it's the same character as somebody in another point in the film, and I'm like, there is no way in hell that works. So, so it's, but
And yes, it did. Whilst
I,
also not.
what?
It worked whilst also not working.
It works if they ask you to suspend your disbelief, and because you're having so much fun in the rest of the film, you willingly suspend it and go, okay, this is just the kind of film that it is. You just have to accept this. It reminds me a bit of like when Shaun and I saw the film The Villainess, and we had some serious face blindness, where it was kind of like, oh, wait. Are those two different people? Is that the same person? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, it's an increasing problem I have in a lot of films because I can't tell the difference between young white men. They all look the same to me. It's a real problem. I watch some series and I genuinely have no idea which of you is which.
Oh, you see, no,
absolutely identical.
the problem Sean and I had was actually a lot more problematic because in the current state of the world, because it was a Korean movie and we were struggling to tell two. We're struggling to follow the plot because there was a bit where it has to do with somebody's face and we couldn't figure out what was going on. So it's... But anyway, so having said that, how many stars would you give The Accountant to?
Go on then, Holly, I'll let you go first.
I'm giving it 4.
4.
I really liked it. I genuinely got to the end and thought that was a really enjoyable film, and I'm going to watch it again because it is actually a very well structured, well put together film that knows what it is and is better than the 3 stars I was expecting. I genuinely thought it would get going in. I thought it was going to be a middle of the road 3-star film, and I was going to be being pleased to have watched it. In the same way that I say most things ought to be 3-star films because normal distribution, and it surprised me.
Okay, Shaun.
Well, that surprised me as well because I can't agree with your reception of that, I'm afraid. I mean, I thought it was a standard 3 of what goes along, but I didn't think it was. Well, but anyway, yeah. For me, it was just standard fare, but I mean, the reason I'd probably give it a 3 is because although there was like the Jeep at the end with the thing, there wasn't any of those gratuitous super smash 'em up car chases that I can remember in it.
Shaun is like, no car chases, no drone shots. I immediately gives you an extra star.
Yeah, I was expecting. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. So I mean, because you know me with drone shots, and I'm going to do a rant one day on drone shots. I'm going to look at all drone shots and car chases. Yeah.
I mean, our next film began with the obligatory drone shot. I watched it getting going.
Yeah, I know that. I know. But, so I'm going to give mine. It's just a standard 3-star. It was silly, and it didn't take itself too seriously. So I had a little bit of forgivingness, but yeah. So 3-star for me.
Yeah, and I'm bang in the middle of the two of you because I was like high 3, low 4. Because I did really have a good time with it. I mean, there are scenes in this that when you try and describe it to other people, you're like, this is great. There's a bit where Ben Affleck goes line dancing. The film stops for him to go line dancing. and you're like, I know. And you're kind of like, well, carry on with the story, but this is actually weirdly enjoyable at the same time. And it's, I mean, there's the kids, the X-Men, the X-Men school of gifted youngsters.
For me, that was the best. That was the best part. Oh, Barry, can you do this? Oh, can you? That was me. That was a great part. And they took control of the computer, and he goes, I've got to give it away. But, you know what I mean? That was that.
Yeah, but it is so cool. Objectively, when you think about that, that is mental. That whole scene is mental. But it's kind of.
People could probably do that.
Yeah, people can do that. They can definitely do that. All right, cool. So that's it. And so that's a 3, 4, 4, whatever. Somewhere in the middle of the 3 and the 4 for The Accountant 2. And now we go into Last One Laughing. Right. So, Shaun, tell us what Last One Laughing is all about. You've been waiting for a week to talk about this.
Last One Laughing. There's a bunch of comedians that have to. It's a bit like Big Brother, should we say? So they go in a house.
Yeah. So it's a reality show.
Yeah, reality show. And so you've got all these comedians and they're not allowed to laugh. So they're all comedians trying to make each other laugh. And if they laugh or titter or they get caught, they get a yellow card. And then if they get caught again, red card, they're sort of evicted from from the house, if you will.
Yeah.
And they've got it's Jimmy Carr and I can't remember the name of the other presenter that are actually like adjudicators, or they sit there and they commentate on what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's basically it. So it goes over, I think it's six episodes or something. And yeah, so you've got, for me, I mean, the reason I watched this, I suppose, is because I really like Bob Mortimer for some strange reason. Well, and that was because what I lied to you with the short. So he was in it. So I thought, and I like Richard. You know how to pronounce his name?
Ayoade.
Ayoade, yeah. So for me, it was a bit samey, and yeah, there were moments which were funny, but it was I was at a relative's and they were watching normally Saturday TV, so I was watching it on a laptop.
Yeah.
So I was watching it, watch it with it. So, and yeah, it had moments, but it didn't make me laugh all the time. Except when, they have guests turn up, and I'm a big fan of some people.
Danny Dyer.
Kind of Danny Dyer. I like him, and I was actually laughing when he turned up. So yeah, for me, I mean, I know Holly's seen this. For me, I thought it was one of those ones that had moments, and but it was a little bit samey. And after a while, I was thinking, there should be a few more laughs as you've got all these comedians in it. But then they're not supposed to, so I suppose that's the.
You're touching on the reasons why I did not want to watch this, because A, I'm not a big fan of Big Brother type stuff, and B, no. It seemed like enforced fun. When you put a whole bunch of people together, now let's do something that's gonna be fun, and there's gonna be people trying to do stuff and like almost workshopping stuff, which I was just scared wasn't going to be funny. But anyway, Holly, what do you think?
Well, I generally I absolutely loathe Big Brother style things. Can't watch them, can't stand them. I also hate enforced fun, but I enjoyed this. It was it didn't feel like enforced fun. There were certainly times where it was like, this is not as funny as I would like it to be. Mm-hmm. And then, as Shaun says, of course, they are trying to make each other laugh whilst not laugh themselves. So it's a very difficult line. And sometimes it had me nearly crying with laughter.
Yeah.
So there were some bits that were genuinely so funny that they completely outweighed the bits that had been a little bit sort of dry up until then. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was.
Did you think? I mean, I sort of worked out who would be the last two. I sort of figured. I don't know if you. I mean, as the episodes went on, I figured who would be the last two, or I thought the ones I thought would be the last two, and. Yeah, so
I can't remember if I did or not.
No, because
I think I did. Yeah,
but it surprised me. It did surprise me at the end. I mean, I thought that the two that would get to the final, but and the one I thought would win didn't win. It was the other one. But
all right, okay, cool. So and obviously, I feel like anything else that we say might just end up becoming spoilers for anyone. So this is last one laughing.
Yeah. The Danny Dyer one I was in hysterics at that, because
yes,
because some of the things he says, you just I think they're funny even when he says serious stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, just because the way he says them, just because. Yeah. So how many stars would you give?
I'll just say they have various guest appearances like Danny Dyer, and they get given instructions as to random things they may have to do, or performances, or all sorts of things. So it mixes it up a bit, rather than just these people sitting in a room trying not to laugh. So which adds some levity to it. But yeah, I thought it was a 3-star series. I enjoyed watching it. Light and foolish, but well put together, well conceived.
Okay, I agree with that one. I agree
3 stars. Okay, 3 stars.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Holly.
One of these days, I might actually be a big boy, put my big point pants, so I'm stop being cowardly and actually watch it. But I feel like just the cringe factor might be.
There was enough there to keep you amused, should we say, laugh. There was enough in it, in the whole thing, to make you, especially like Holly said, some of the performances. I like the one with the hairdryer and the.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in. I don't know how people couldn't laugh at that, because I was laughing at that one.
Okay. All right, so 3 stars for last one laughing. Okay, now we have Until Dawn. We go back to cinema and it's Until Dawn. So, Holly, tell us about Until Dawn.
Until Dawn begins with five people in a car pulling up to, the obligatory sort of gas station slash small shop in the middle of nowhere in the US.
Ugh.
And it turns out that they are looking for the sister of one of them who went missing the year before. And they go into the sister goes into the shop and says, have you seen my sister? And and the guy sort of says, oh well, maybe no, I don't know that I remember her. Maybe I remember her. All sorts of people go missing in Glore Valley, and she's like, oh, Glore Valley, this is a place. And we go, clearly it's not a good idea to go to Glore Valley now, is it? So back in the car they go, and it turns out that in the car are her very close friends, two very close friends of hers, her ex-boyfriend and the boyfriend of one of the friends. And one of the friends is allegedly a little bit psychic. So off they go driving, and the weather becomes torrential, unbearable rain, and they arrive in Glore Valley, which is a very, very strange, very quiet place that seems rather abandoned. And they go into the welcome house and look around and discover that it feels very strange, and like nobody's been here in a very long time, and nothing is quite right. And they realise that it's raining outside the valley, but not raining inside. All of these strange things. There is an hourglass on the wall. There are posters with up of missing people, and mysterious things do not seem right. And it gets dark, and they suddenly everything starts going a little bit crazy, and every single one of them dies and comes back to life. And
Okay.
they establish that they are in this strange place, and in order to survive it, they have to be able to survive until dawn. And
many times.
many
Okay.
times. And they write their name. One of the girls writes her name in the guest book at the beginning of every cycle, every day that they're there, so you can tell how many days people have been there previously, including the sister.
So we're talking. I'm getting a mix of Groundhog Day and a slasher movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Groundhog Day.
They die in different ways every day as well. So it keeps variety going.
Oh yeah.
No two deaths are the same.
If you ever go to Gore Valley, don't drink the water.
Okay. You two have done a very good job of making me interested in something that I had zero interest in. This was like filed under never watching that. You're thinking, okay, this could actually be good. So what do you guys actually think about it? So that's the premise. How was it executed?
Yeah. Well, it's based on I didn't realise that it's based, because I'm not a gamer, but it is actual based on a game. Which is said so the game thing, which you can understand. So it was very much like a game,
like dying and then going back to the beginning and starting all over again, like a video game.
And there were it was pretty bloody, pretty gory. There's a like a Thor moment with a big hammer and things. And
I would say funny gory. Rather than funny gory predominantly.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
It was really. It was really. It was like a lot. There was a lot of blood. And as the time goes on, I couldn't work out if it was just each time they died it was a day, or whether because the hourglass thing, or whether it was like just kept going and kept going. So once they were all killed, they all come back, and then it was all until. But yeah, no, it was a couple of places confused me with like the asylum bit and the creatures. And the thing is, what happens is once you've died this many times, you turn into a rather nasty creature. So all the people, what Holly was saying, with all the people that were missing.
So essentially, if you don't last until dawn, eventually you just stay in Gore Valley.
You become one of these, and you've got like, it's a bit like, what was was it Cabin in the Woods, where you got like
Cabin in the Woods.
Typical, you've got the mask,
all the stereotypical things you find in horror movies.
You've got clown meat, one bit. You've got like someone wears a mask. You've got like the creepy girl with the teeth. You've got skeletal type people. And, being chased, a lot of chase. So every sort of trope really, but I should imagine
it had a lot of the Cabin in the Woods style things to it, didn't it? And I really do like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I love Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods is a good film,
a lot of times,
especially the merman bit. But anyway, yeah. So, which you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so it's very bloody. It's very much nothing I haven't really seen before. Nothing to surprise me. It's quite an interesting premise. So yeah.
So how many stars do we give this?
For me, probably a 3. It had enough in it to keep it a 3 for me. I wasn't like huffy puffy. Oh, here we go. So yeah, it was enough for a 3.
It made me jump.
Really?
I'm not. Yeah, a few times. And I, shut my eyes occasionally, because sometimes I do in horror films, and I did also at one point nearly fall asleep. Right. I'm a bit sort of torn. I think I'm actually going to give it a 2.
Fair enough. I did think of giving it a 2, and then I thought
it's like the whole gamut of emotions. I jumped twice, and I also fell asleep.
So for me, the only jump I jumped more in that explosion in Warfare than I have in any horror film.
Yeah, I was about to say it made you jump, but it's no Warfare.
Not a massive jumps, I should add. Just a bit like, oh.
Is that when you were falling? Is it the jump when you were falling asleip? You're sort of nodding off, and then
it sent me to sleep, and then it brought me back.
Like when you go to lectures and stuff, and you're trying to keep awake, and you're like, has it ever happened to you where you're sort of like this?
Yeah, that happens to me all the time, Shaun. In all sorts of things. Scarily, even while driving. It's happened to me while driving.
Oh, goodness.
I know. That's why I'm like, okay, nowadays, always have a nap.
On about Sinners. Yeah. Yep. So even more expense for me, because when I went to see it, and I was on the mainland, I got clipped by a speed camera.
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah. So
your ticket for Sinners is probably pushing up to like £150 now to watch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I was like, oh no, 9:45 on a sort of bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And
the roads open. The one that gets me is roads that look like they should have higher speed limits.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It's like, I got caught on a road that I thought was a 40 because of what the road looked like. Yeah. I got doing 35 on a road I thought was a 40, but it was actually a 30.
Was 35. Yeah.
And it's like, so yeah, it happens. All right, cool. And now let's go to the final thing for this week, and that is the Life List on Netflix. Now, the Life List on Netflix is one of these films that looks like you know how you have your Hallmark movie? And Netflix seems to have come in there and gone, we are going to try and take away the Hallmark movie from Hallmark, and we're going to try and take it. And this looks like that. It's one of these films that's based on a book. And because it's based on a book, it's, let me say, I think that there's things that would work better in the book than the work in this film. Because the whole premise of this film is that you meet this girl, and you meet her, and she's called Alex. She is the youngest of 3 kids, and you find out her mum. So, like, she's the youngest of 3 kids. Her mom is, like, this woman who has started a cosmetics company. And earlier in the film, you find out that her mom is dying. Is dying of cancer. You find out that she and her mom are very, very close. And then when they're reading out so very quickly, her mom, played by Connie Britton, dies. And when they're reading out the will, she gives different things to all the different kids. And everyone's expecting that the company is going to be given to this girl, Alex. And she says, no, I'm giving the rest of my shares to the sister-in-law because she already works in the company. She's going to be the new CEO. And as my last act, I'm firing her daughter. because she says that because you had a list when you were 13, and this was a list that was really, really you, and you have given up on your life, you've given up on a whole bunch of things because you thought, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. So to get your inheritance, you have to complete everything on this list that you made when you were 13 by Christmas. And so she has things in it like, do stand-up comedy, play one-on-one with a New York Knick, things, all these different things on the list that she has said that she wanted to do. Hello, sorry, superfan Nina's just at my house and just hanging around outside the window.
Tell her to come and say hello.
Come on, Nina. Superfan Nina.
Nina, hello, finally. Hello, how are you? Hello, Nina.
I got a second. Let me take yours so that she can actually hear you. Okay, now she can hear you.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks so much.
Hi. What are you reviewing?
We are currently reviewing The Life List.
What's the life list?
It's something on Netflix.
Ah.
I'm not sure you like it.
I'm looking forward to listening to the podcast.
All right, cool,
Bye.
good stuff.
I'll leave you with a record. Bye.
Yes, so she's, and it's all about, so it's about do all these things on this list, and what she's done is that she's recorded DVDs for her, and every time she finishes something on the list, she gets a new DVD from her mum. And her mom telling her about something else in her life and all that kind of stuff. So and at the beginning, I actually found this weirdly life affirming. Like there were bits where I was like, yeah, I've given up on stuff when I was 13 as well. Maybe I should go do this. Maybe I should have my own list. Maybe I should. And you think that, but then, and I think all the inventiveness in the film is in the first bit, because when they go to her mother's law firm, the executor of the will is like a young, good-looking guy who has shown up in a lot of teen films. His name's Kyle Allen. He was in the Map of Tiny Perfect Things. And when you see a young, good-looking guy show up, there's no real guessing. There's no real process for guessing what happens to the young, good-looking guy and the young, good-looking girl by the end of the film. There really isn't any. And so the first bit of the film has all the inventiveness. The second bit of the film, I feel like each of the ticked off things on the list, they would have made more of it in the book, probably. If not, but then they show her do like two of them, and they kind of like, hand wave all the others. They're like, yeah, whatever. And then they finish the film. And the film goes, and then it just becomes kind of like, goes into typical rom-com-y, kind of the power was in you all along, Hallmark movie sentiment kind of stuff. So I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I thought that the first bit of it was quite good. Connie Britton is always good value. But after that, I think I kind of lost interest so the first half of the film is a 3, the second half of the film is a 2. So because there's nothing else that you expect there. So I'm just gonna go down and I'm gonna say it's a low 3. I think I think overall it would be really, really childish of me to give it lower than a 3. So it's a low 3 for me. So that is it for the life list. And all that's left to ask is, who do you think has won this week?
Well, I think most of them were 3s. There was a 4 and a 2. So I think the 2 might have adjusted the thing. So I reckon probably streaming maybe, because that was a steady 3.
I think it's cinema because...
But you gave Until Dawn a 2, didn't you?
Yeah, I still think cinema's going to pip it in.
Oh, what, with the 4?
Yeah.
So you counterbalanced. Yeah, maybe.
I think so, maybe.
I like that. I love seeing the mental arithmetic that happens. I never get to do this because I have a spreadsheet.
Put us out of our misery then, Toes.
Holly is just right. Holly is actually I think Holly's exactly right. Cinema has just about pipped it. The average of the stars is 3.08 for cinema, and the average for Netflix and Friends is 3.
Right. Okay. Right, that makes sense. Yeah. So the 4 did it then. Oh, yeah, did you give it a 4 as well, Toes?
I gave it a 4, yes.
Oh, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you gave it a 3. Yeah, you gave it a 4.
And I was, to be honest with you, I gave it a 3.5. Frankly, because I was like, right in the middle, right on that border. So yeah, that's it. So this week, what we're saying is that it's just about it. Well, it's worth it wherever you went, but it's just about worth it getting off your butt and going to the cinema and seeing something there than just only sitting at home. But quite frankly, I was thinking about this and thinking about this podcast, and I was like, this is just an excuse for us to watch stuff and then talk about it. So if there's one thing you take from us, it's go watch stuff and then talk about it. Hopefully with us on our YouTube channel, Netflix via Cinema, as many other people have done this week and told us about what they think about what we think about certain things. So yeah, if you can find us on YouTube, Netflix via Cinema, it will be lovely to hear you there. Lovely to hear your thoughts on the different things that we said. Are we totally wrong? And is, I don't know, Until Dawn a 5-star masterpiece? You let us know. But until that time, until next week, when I think I shall be making Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Thunderbolts would be the one, yeah.
Thunderbolts is my big one. That's what I'm going to be trying to watch for next week. So until next week, it is a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Thank you ever so much for joining us.